So today's session is entitled The Art and Skill of Giving Awesome Toast, right? And it is sponsored by 25 Alike Toastmasters. If you are asked to make a toast at your best friend's wedding or big birthday party, how do you begin? What are you going to say? I was in that situation last year when I had to make a toast to my daughters at her wedding, and it took me quite a while to think about how do I go about doing this so that it is the best toast I can make. And thus I did a lot of research, and I thought I would share some of those tips and tricks with you today. Keep in mind that these tips actually work for just about any occasion, including having to make memorial tributes. So there are 5 steps on how to write and create and deliver a successful toast, whether it's celebratory or memorial or other things that would come in mind. In addition, we will give you some tips as well as tricks how to do this, because you have to have these things, otherwise you might not have the best or memorable toast. Here are the steps. The first step, of course, is that you need to gather your memories and your stories and your anecdotes. This is important because it can help create and make a difference in what people will remember about this person. Remember, you are celebrating this person, whether it is a wedding or a joyous occasion, or if it's a memorial tribute, you want to remember the best of these people and the best qualities. And having these stories will help that. That means you wanted to think about what is that person's interest, what are their passions, and what are their accomplishments, okay? Also, think about what is your relationship with this person and share that with the audience. For example, when did you meet this person? What did you do together? What are some of the adventures you went on? How is it and why is this person special to you? Those are the things that will help provide the tribute or provide the connection and let your audience know a little bit more about this person that you are honoring or celebrating. The second step is that you want to organize your speech. You want to organize it so that there is a beginning, okay? And in the beginning, of course, it's important to introduce yourself, tell the audience your relationship to the person that you are honoring. Often people forget about that. And then also, of course, you want to set the appropriate tone. Is this a celebratory event? In that case, it would be joyous. It would be high energy. You wanted to show your enthusiasm. On the other hand, if it's a memorial tribute, it will be a little bit more subdued, but it would be respectful and also maybe a little bit more formal tone. And of course, you wanted to engage your audience. That means you want to have some of the techniques that we talk about in Toastmasters. You want to have some eye contact with the audience so that they feel like you're speaking to them, right? And you wanted to maybe use some statements or ask a question. That way, it's not just going to be a one-way kind of conversation. And in your organization, of course, there's going to be a middle. This is where you share a few of your stories to show this person's qualities. When I say a few, that means maybe 1 to 3. It doesn't have to be a lot because you don't have a lot of time. You're not telling the whole life story, but select the best story to share. And of course, you want to structure your speech so that it is clear. And one way to do that is to use the rule of 3. This means that you can structure your speech in your story. For example, if I'm talking about honoring my friend who's getting married, I can talk about when I first know her in kindergarten, let's say that's when I first know my friend, that long. And then when we're in college, then later on after graduation and working. So those are the three things that I can break it up and easier for people to digest and understand. And the last thing, of course, you want to end it with a strong note. And we have more tips about how to do that later on during this presentation. The third is to draft your speech. Okay, this is really important. And in drafting your speech, the biggest tip is that just write down your thoughts, your stories. Write them down quickly. You don't have to edit. You don't have to do any grammatical stuff. Just jot it down because it is a brainstorming. Okay, you can do the editing later. Once you finish drafting the speech, put it aside for a day or so if you can. If you don't have that much time, just for a few hours. That will help. Okay. And then the fourth step is that when you want to review and edit your speech. Of course, if you are doing a celebratory event, you have a lot more advance notice and you can maybe set aside longer and you can have the things mulling in your head over a period of days. But if you don't have that much time, you can still let it sit for a while and then come back and review because then you can then look at the thing, the information with fresh pair of eyes and you can easily edit things out that maybe are just distractions or maybe not that important. Keep in mind that, again, you are just highlighting the best qualities of the person. You're not telling the whole life story. Okay? When you're reviewing, editing, make sure, ask yourself, is this clear? Is it easy to follow for our listeners? Okay? If it's confusing, then you want to edit and revise it so that it is clear to your audience. An important question, of course, is, does this capture the person's qualities? You want to provide a tribute or you want to celebrate this person's life. So you want to share the best qualities with your audience. The other question is it too long or too short? If it is, you want to edit it. If it's too long, take out things that are maybe extraneous and less important. And a good guideline, of course, is for wedding kinds of toast. It would be 2 to 5 minutes. That's a long time. You can say a lot in those few minutes. Any longer than that, your audience is going to maybe dream and not pay attention and get distracted, okay? If it's a memorial type of tribute, it could be a little bit longer, 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how much time they give you on the program, okay? So make sure you ask the organizers how much time you have. But experts basically recommend that you don't talk more than 10 minutes because that's a long time, all right? The fifth step in the process is you need to practice delivering the speech. And this is, again, where Toastmasters skills or joining in Toastmasters can help you be more confident and be able to deliver your speech with confidence and be able to net well with your audience. And in delivering your speech, a few things to keep in mind: speak clearly, use local variety. If you're speaking in monotone, people will fall asleep. So you need to be able to use some body language, right? And eye contact that can help a lot. Now that you know all the 5 steps in the process, here are 7 tips and tricks to make your toast awesome. All right, how do you make that process awesome? First, you need to start the process early. That means don't wait till the last minute because it takes time to think about all those great memories and anecdotes, especially if you've known the person for a long time. So start the process early, if you can. And then for weddings, they suggest 3 to 6 months in advance. Yeah, that's a long time, but you know, that doesn't mean that you are working on it all the time, but that you are thinking about these stories. And then the second tip, of course, keep it short and sweet. Remember, you are sharing the best accomplishments, qualities about this person. So choose the best stories to help highlight those qualities in the person. And then we mentioned toasts that are celebratory, 2 to 5 minutes. Memorial tributes, 5 to 10 is the most. Can you use humor? Of course. You can poke fun at the briar room, right? But please, no shaming. It is a celebration. Okay? No worry. Even if you have an argument before, whatever, nothing's perfect. So just keep that in mind. No shaming in these situations. Also, make the speech personal. That means sharing personal stories that you have interaction with that person. What makes them special? You speak from your heart. That's the best kind of stories to share. And that's where your audience will remember the most. And keep the speech positive. We know that no one is perfect. And even though the person has faults, you could use euphemisms to share some of those qualities if you want, okay? And the fifth tip is that you want to print out and have a copy of the notes or have it on your smartphone, right? That way, if you forget, you can refer to them. But please don't continue to read from the notes without eye contact. You really do have to connect with the audience, and a little bit of eye contact helps a lot. And the sixth tip is that use conversational tone. Pretend you're talking to a friend. You're telling them the story. You're telling them why this person mattered to you. And practice your speech out loud. It is very different than thinking about it in your head and rehearsing in your head. You have to practice out loud. And the last but not the least, the most important, of course, end with strong finish. How do you do that? You thank the people for coming, of course. And in weddings and celebration, you may want to respond to earlier speeches or funny comments. That way you can add authenticity to your toast. And you could acknowledge the new family that you'll be joining or thank them for all their support, etc., etc. And of course, at the end, you want to be able to make a toast, right? Make a toast to the new couple, newlyweds, all right? And the difference, though, in eulogies, okay, or tributes, if you will, is that you wanted to share some of the lessons learned from this person. Or you can say how much you miss them, what they mean to the community, what they mean to you. However, be kind to yourself. It's okay to be emotional, especially if it's a memorial tribute. It can be very emotional. It's a hard thing to be able to do a tribute. So if you're feeling too overwhelmed, you could, in advance, ask someone else to help you deliver the eulogy. You don't have to do it alone. That's it. I know this is a lot, and it might be new, or you already know some of these tips. We'll have an opportunity to practice them during the table talking session of today's meeting. And I hope that you have fun with toast giving today. So let's toast to that. Thank you so much.